Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast here on Boss Rush Games. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrigan, and alongside me, as always, is the mayor of the Deepstone Crypt himself, Mr. Josh Finney.
Hey, Corey.
Hi, Josh. This is our first show of 2021, and I really thought that we were going to be here under better circumstances, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to do this every couple months for some reason, whether it's something happening in like on the national news or locally or whatever within the community. Like before we talk about Destiny, it's going to be a light show this week, next couple weeks actually, as we come to the end of the season and whatnot. But if you're watching this within the posting date, within a couple days, you know that this week was a pretty historic week for the United States. Not exactly one that we are going to be proud of, to say the least. I have a lot of thoughts on this, and Josh, you and I talked off air a lot about this, and it's driving me nuts. And like, I'm really tired of this shit happening. I kind of addressed our group, but like, first of all, I can't imagine, like, I don't know. Please say something. I can't. I'm so mad and so.
I mean, I think that I think most rational people are feeling the exact same thing. We're feeling anger. We're feeling sadness, I guess, of some sort. Like we're righteous fury or whatever you want to call it. To watch the, I don't know, not the birthplace. Like what am I looking for? Like the seat of our constitutionally elected democracy, where they meet, a place that, for all intents and purposes, should be one of the most secure buildings in the country, if not in the world. Get overrun by a bunch of people who peaked in pre-K, who were left behind by evolution, whatever you want to call it. Like it's infuriating to see this happen regardless. But then when you see videos of police officers moving aside barricades, when you see there's like 10 of them on the front steps of the Capitol trying to hold back a mob of probably a couple thousand. These are not protesters. This is a violent mob of domestic terrorists. There is no other way to slice it. They were inflamed by rhetoric from the president, of course, for the last couple months, screaming about how a perfectly normal democratic election that we've had 45, 46 times before in terms of transfer of power was no longer going to be peaceful because he's so desperate to avoid prison for his crimes he's committed. You had senators jumping in on the grift, namely Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley. In fact, I'm not even going to call them senators anymore. They're treasonous fucks. That's the nicest way I can refer to them. They are the treasonous fucks. They got several other people in the Senate chamber to go along with them. And then after all this happens, after they storm the building, members of Congress have to be evacuated from the building, including the fucking vice president. Trump's own right-hand man has to be evacuated because Trump sicked his lackeys on them. Shots are fired inside the Capitol building, inside the Senate chamber, or the House. I don't remember which one it is, House or Senate. So one of the two. Shots are fired. They're having to wear gas masks because tear gas is being deployed in the hallways. We see the pictures and the videos and the images coming out of people in paramilitary gear, bulletproof vests, carrying weapons, carrying zip ties, erecting a noose in front of the Capitol. There's no doubt what they plan to do. If you say that you were ignorant, there were signs about it online. A lot of people saw it. There is no way that the police did not know about this. There's no way the FBI did not know about this. And then for the president to sit there and watch this and not send the National Guard in immediately to actively prevent the National Guard from going is such an inexcusable abuse of power. Multiple impeachable offenses happened on Wednesday. Okay, to be perfectly clear, multiple impeachable offenses, multiple felonies, like things that he should go to prison for life for. And anybody else involved in this should go to prison for life for. I mean, you had a newly elected state rep from the state of West Virginia out there as part of this mob that stormed the Capitol. And he was stupid enough to post pictures of himself in there.
Not just,
you have retired,
not just pictures, but him raising his fist, like cheering them on.
You had multiple retired lawmakers. You had retired vets in there. You had police officers, off-duty police officers that were a part of this. And to watch what I grew up being told was the world's greatest democracy be just a crumbling failure. This is like the pinnacle of the failure that has been building throughout my lifetime. To see that come to such a horrifying end is unfathomable. The fact that 24 hours later, Donald Trump has been deemed not worthy of having a Facebook account, a Twitch account. He was locked out of Twitter for 12 hours, took him 24 hours to post again. The fact that he's not trusted with social media, but is still trusted with the nuclear codes and with running the country is 100% an institutional failure. The fact that this man is likely going to be allowed to stay in power for the next 13 days is unacceptable. It's horrible. It's heinous. It is a stain forever on the mark of the presidency and on the country. This is arguably the lowest moment we've had as a country since President Kennedy was assassinated in 1963. In fact, I'd go further back. I would say this is probably like a top 2 or 3 darkest moment since the fucking Civil War. That's how bad yesterday was. The United Nations is sitting here. NATO is sitting here going, what the fuck is going on in America right now? We are the guys.
It's not just them. It's everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Oh, it's bad enough that our allies are saying it, but then China, Venezuela, Turkey, Russia are all able to go, see, look, that's what U.S. democracy gets you, is this. We have embarrassed ourselves on the world stage for the umpteenth time in my lifetime. This is a stain on our reputation we will never, ever be able to outlive. Like, the rest of our lives will be spent trying to undo the damage of the last 4 years and all the decisions that got us to Donald fucking Trump being the president. Imagine being willing to put your life on the line for Donald fucking Trump, for a third-rate game show host to remain president. Imagine that for just a moment.
Well, 3 people did. So
it's we now know that 5 people have died. 3 of non-gunshot related things of natural causes that were brought on. Believe at least one of them we know was a heart attack. A police officer has died from Capitol Police, and one of the terrorists. We're not calling them protesters; they're fucking terrorists. And I just want to say to anybody who says this is not who we are as a country, we're better than this. We showed yesterday we are not better than this. We aren't. That's just a stone cold lie. We're not. What you mean to say is we should be and can be better than this. But I wanna quote something that I hate it when one of the worst people that you know, who undoubtedly helped lead you to this moment from the media, is now one of the ones who's like a crusader against Trump. And I'm like, yeah, sure, it's great for us to find a spine at some point. But Joe Scarborough made a point on MSNBC this morning, screaming, fucking screaming.
Yeah,
saying,
I retweeted the video.
Yeah, imagine if this had been Black Lives Matter, there would have been fucking tanks going down the road. If they were Muslims, they would have been getting fucking. And his exact words on national television were, "They would have been fucking sniped."
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. And I'm sure at this point everybody's seen the viral video of the guy from DC standing out on his porch screaming at people in the cars to get the fuck out of his city.
Mm-hmm.
You treasonous, and I'm saying fuck a lot, but there's an explicit label for a reason. Saying, get out of here, you treasonous fucks. And that's what this is. This is treason. This is sedition, no matter how you want to frame it. That's what this is. And we've had to say this now 3 times. This is now the 3rd time I've had to say this on this show. And I really hope that we don't have to come back next week and address something else insane that's happened. Because this is supposed to be Destiny. This is supposed to be Tower Castle. It's supposed to be a place where we just come, we hang out, we talk about a silly game where we shoot aliens and, you know, bake cookies for fucking space aliens.
I'm gonna say one thing before you continue that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not. I mean, Tower Casuals is our escape from real life problems and issues and work and stuff to come together, talk about a game that we absolutely love. Right? We don't want to do this. I said this to everybody, and this goes to everybody who listens to the show, who watches this show. This isn't even a fight against Democrats and Republicans anymore. This is good people this is good versus literal good versus evil at this point. And if you support anything that happened yesterday, if you support anything remotely that happened yesterday, you are not welcome here. I don't care if you work with us. I don't care if you guested on our show. I don't care if you are in the group. I don't care if you want to write in. You are not welcome here. You are not fucking welcome here.
Yeah. And that's what I was getting to as well. That was going to be my next point. We don't fucking want you here. We just don't. You're not welcome in this community. This is asking you to respect basic institutional constitutional norms and to respect other people. Like that's been our thing since the beginning. Is that we're going to respect each other. We're going to treat each other with respect. We're going to be better. And sometimes being better means drawing a line in the sand and saying you cannot be a part of this community if you support the bigotry, the racism, the fascism of the current Republican Party. You just can't. You fucking can't. And I don't want to hear the excuse of, well, not everyone who voted for him is like that. No, he told us back in October, he told people specifically the ones who led the siege of our capital on Wednesday to stand by and be ready. And guess what? They fucking listened. And you know what? It was publicized everywhere what he said. It was put into context what he meant. And 74 million citizens still decided this motherfucker deserved a second term. You lost. Learn how to fucking count. It's over. The election was not stolen from you. You have been lied to. If you are listening to this and you somehow believe this nutcase, you were lied to. You were absolutely lied to. Okay? We're not going to stay in our lane. We're not going to stay just in video games. This is about the soul of our nation. This is about the future. I would personally like this to be a place where I want my kids to grow up at, and right now I don't feel like it is. In fact, I don't even feel that. I know it's not. Mm-hmm. This is not the future I want my children to inherit. It's just not. We are at such... We said this over the summer. We are at such a critical moment in history, in time. For once, I'd like to get through a year without having a history or world-altering event happening in my backyard. Because you can only take so much of this. But when I say things like that, I think about our brothers and sisters who are oppressed all the time, who are systematically torn down. And it's pretty bad when we have to sit here and go, they got to stroll out of there scot-free and not be arrested. And so many of them will never face charges for what they did or even be arraigned in court, simply because of the color of their skin and who they supported for president.
I'm really tired. We have a lot of friends who are not white. Right?
To put it mildly, yes.
I am really tired of, like, and not in like a bad way, but I'm really tired. I mean, it is a bad way. It's a terrible way. I'm really tired of, like, texting Ed, like, if he's working, I'm like, dude, be safe, right? I'm really tired of texting, you know, or telling LeBron to be safe. I'm sure you're really tired of telling Ray to be safe.
Yeah.
I'm really tired of it, guys. And you and I will never have to know that pain because, unfortunately, that's our skin tone dictates what safety is apparently in this country, and it's terrible. And I'm really tired of it, you know. And I can't even imagine how they feel about it, you know, because they're living it, they're going through it. I can't imagine, and I can't imagine the horrors that they live through just by walking down the street or going out to get the mail, and
just by existing.
They walk down their driveway to get the mail, and they see a cop drive by, and they don't know if they're going to make it back up their driveway. I don't understand. I don't get it.
That's why when I say that I'm fucking sick of it, I try to take a step back and say, I imagine how sick of it that I am. And then I remember my friends and our colleagues and everybody else that we see and how they've endured this their entire lives. And no, the fight is not over. The fight is, just because Joe Biden was elected president does not mean this fight is over. Yesterday showed us that. This is going to be something we will be reckoning with for years, if not decades to come. We have a responsibility and a moral obligation for everybody to have these same rights, privileges, and freedoms that we are so fortunate to enjoy simply because of the color of our skin or our religion or our sex or our gender. Like, you can't put justice for all in the Pledge of Allegiance if you don't fucking mean it. And those are words I've been fixated on so much for, God, probably about 8-9 months now. And I don't understand. I don't
funny
understand.
You bring that up because I literally just tweeted that out.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. I think it was last night before I went to bed.
Gotcha. I just, those words have been on my mind a lot, particularly the last 4 years, or over the last 4 years, but especially since the senseless killings over the summer. And I look at how differently people who were chanting in the street peacefully were treated, as opposed to armed insurgents, terrorists, and treasonous who stormed our nation's capital. Like, set aside for a second that all of that happens, the national security implications, the fact that we're finding out that, like, Capitol Police just didn't respond. They were offered backup from the National Guard. Maryland tried to send in a National Guard and were prevented. I don't know how some people in this world can be so cold, callous, and cruel. We saw that cruelty on full display yesterday. And the sad reality is that after all of that, 124, I believe was the final count, Republican senators from both chambers, congressmen, whatever you want to call them, still managed to come back and object to the election results. We won. Democracy prevailed in the end this time. I'm not so sure it will next time, which is why we have to fight like hell, guys. We have to fight like hell for the future, not just for our kids and our grandkids and everything, but for our neighbors, for the present day. It's the events that we saw. And I promise I'm not going to dwell on this too much longer. But the events that we saw yesterday were eerily reminiscent of the Reichstag fire in 1933, which, if you're not familiar with that, is what helped Hitler come to total power. After those events is when he was able to start consolidating it, and they started invasions not too long after, like 2-3 years later. We saw on full display from some of the treasonous that were on the Senate floor that have political ambitions. They have ambitions for the presidency in 2024. If one of them was in charge,
they had flags that said Trump 2024.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the duly elected constitutional leaders.
Yeah.
I'm talking about members of the Senate who have political ambitions, who think that they're going to inherit Trump's coalition and have sold their souls already to attempt it. They will not be as bumbling as he was. The people around them will not be as bumbling, I guarantee you. Which is why if we don't fight right now, Joe Biden may have won the presidency. The Democrats may have triumphed in Georgia this time, and we have an exact 50-50 split in the Senate. We cannot get complacent. The midterms are in 2 years. I guarantee you they are already gearing up for that. It's not the time to rest. I wish I had told you it was time to rest, to relax, to try and process what has happened. And we should. In due time, we should all. I want everybody to know that it is okay to turn off the phone. It is okay to delete Twitter off your phone. It is okay to get up, and I implore you to get away from social media right now. I really do. Because it takes a toll on everyone. I was telling Corey, I had a migraine on Tuesday night. It had mostly gone away, and then everything started happening Wednesday, and I've had one for about 36 hours now. Yeah, I live, a lot of y'all don't know this, but I live with a permanent ulcer, which has only been exacerbated by events of the last couple of weeks. Not just nationally, but, personally. And it's okay to step away, to have to take time to process it. Take your time to process it, and then fight like hell. Because I guarantee you, we saw from the other side yesterday, they are going to do anything and everything in their power to make sure that our democracy crumbles.
And
to make sure that they are instilled at the top of the chain.
And I know that this all sounds like hyperbolic. It does, but trust me, I don't think it's not. I don't think it is. And even people on MSNBC and some of these other places that are talking about this stuff that happened this week are like, Trump wants to start a multimedia digital empire, and he has 74 million people who thought he was good enough to stay in office. That if national security is not prepping now, they should start right now prepping for some sort of almost like a civil war almost. And that was scary to hear, like, reporters and people say, like, really smart, educated people say that on national television. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I'm really angry. I'm really sad. I'm embarrassed. I feel a lot of things, I do. I feel a lot of things.
I want to be clear. When I say that we're furious, the reason why I'm able to sit here and say that with a straight face right now, without a lot of emotion in my face, if you're watching the video, or why it sounds, just real calm in my voice right now, is because I've spent most of the last 36 hours yelling and screaming about this.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of crying. I've done a lot of yelling. I've done a lot of screaming over the last 36 hours. I simply don't have it in me anymore. This is what so many of us were afraid of back when he decided to run in 2016. I didn't understand it when he announced in 2015. It was at the beginning of 2016 I started understanding, and as we got closer to that election, and I started listening to people that would know, oh shit, this is a problem. This is something that I think was in the back of minds of a lot of people, especially people of color, for the last 4 years. It's going, we know he is capable of doing this. He will do this if given the opportunity. He will do anything he has to stay in power. And we saw him attempt that yesterday. I am terrified for the next 13 days. I no longer am sure if goodness will win out the day. But I know that I'm going to fight like hell for it. And that, this is a place of inclusivity. And, just as a final note, I want to reiterate again, if you've somehow made it through all this and you still support this treasonous, seditious piece of shit, you're not welcome here. You're not. I will gladly lose your number, your follow numbers. I will gladly let things dip down.
Look,
if it means that we foster a community where everybody is welcome.
I showed you a number last night about this show and the numbers, right? And I'm really proud of what we've done with this show. Mm-hmm. But I would gladly do it for 1% of this.
I would do it for 0. Yeah.
I mean, my point is, like, I would do it without you if you support this. He's not even human. I don't know what to call him. If you support anything that happened yesterday, you will not ever be welcome here. We support our friends. We support our peers who believe in good and do good. And if you don't support that, that's been the saying since day zero is be
If you haven't picked up
better.
on it by now, we don't
Be
want
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
better. It's right there in the tagline.
So let me catch my breath.
I
Josh,
really hope that we don't have to come back and have this conversation again next week.
I hope
with
we
you
don't
guys.
ever have to have this conversation again, ever.
Yeah. Or a
I know-
conversation like this.
I know we probably will because this is the
Yep.
world we live in. But I don't ever want to have this conversation. I am tired of this conversation.
And for our last note, this does go back to what Corey and I said over the summer when we addressed what's happening with Black Lives Matter, when we addressed the election in November, that we feel like we have a moral obligation to have this conversation with you, our viewers. And that since we have the platform, we have a responsibility to speak up for those who can't. It would be an abdication of responsibility to not do that. This is a conversation you're probably going to hear on a lot more shows this week. And I think it's important that we have this conversation because for a lot, I keep seeing shock on my Twitter and Facebook feeds, and I understand not as many people are tapped into the news cycle or into social media as some of us are. Yesterday was a very jarring realization for some people, including people in my own family, who thought that I was being hyperbolic these last couple of years. And now they're understanding, like, literally I had one of them text me and go, "This is what you've been worried about." Yes, this was literally one of like my worst fears come to life. So, but Corey, do you have anything else to add before we get to actual?
Yes,
Destiny.
I just want to say one thing, and then we
for
can
it,
talk
go for it.
about
You're good.
Destiny.
You're good.
I promise, guys. We are going to talk about Destiny, but Black lives always matter. Women's voices matter. LGBTQ plus voices always matter here. Good people matter here. If you do not support any of that, I do not want you here. Josh does not want you here. And I'm pretty sure I can speak to anybody else in Boss Rush. We do not want you here. I don't care if we lost. I don't care if we lost every viewer we've ever had. I don't want you here, and that's all I have to say about it. Be better, everybody. Be better. Be better to your neighbor, your friend, someone at the grocery store, anywhere you go. Just be better. It doesn't take much. Being a nice person is free. Does not cost anything. You know, I saw Cam Hawkins, friend of show, a friend of Boss Rush. He works over at Dual Shockers. He said it costs nothing to be nice to somebody, and like I just want to reiterate that. So, but Josh, what do you say we talk a little bit about Destiny at least this week?
Let's talk a little now that we've had, the talk.
Yeah. There's not a lot of news. Iron Banner's going on right now. I would be lying if I said I've been playing a lot of Destiny. I've been checking in here and there. I know you do the Reset Tuesday thing.
I've even put that on hold, honestly. I kind of got to a point. We were talking about this with Nerd Generalists on our last show of 2020. How we had all hit Beyond Light so hard when it came out. Like, I mean, Nerd and I are probably at over a dozen runs on Deepstone Crypt since it came out in November, and all of those were between the launch date, like the week of Thanksgiving, and the time we did the last show. So, like a dozen or so attempts in under a month, and those are just the ones we managed to complete. I got really burned out. But there's so much in Beyond Light that honestly, had I not hit it as hard as I did, I probably would have still been playing it throughout the Christmas break. I've taken a pretty sizable break, with the exception of logging in to I actually really like the Dawning. I think that It's dumb, it's stupid, but I there's just something about baking cookies for fictional characters that like kind of puts me oddly at ease with everything going on in the world. The joking name that you and I have given it is the yawning, but I actually really like a lot of the rewards that we got from the Dawning this year. I think if you're going to do community events, I do think the goals need to be a little bit more realistic, so we're not like having to enact like a triple modifier the week that it's supposed to end to make sure we get the rewards.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how there were different rewards for each step in the community quest, and you got more if you hadn't played the Dawning in past years. They gave out emotes and ships and sparrows from years past, weapons from years past, and oh god, what was it? We got Glasteochasm. I really like Glasteochasm, new fusion rifle. If you didn't get it, it's a really, really dope looking one. I like some of the cosmetics. I personally got the Xenophage ornament, the Christmas ornament for that, and the mini sled.
Nice.
What do we call that? Slutty Puff Junior or something now, since it can't be Scooty Puff.
Slutty Puff.
Yeah, I like it. The Christmas sparrows are my favorite part. And there is a ship that, like, if you did one of the Dawning quest lines, you got a special ship that got upgraded a lot with special effects and things like that, and would generate extra Dawning spirit for the entire community, not just for you. I think things like that are really cool. It really encourages people to participate, but I do think the goals need to be about half of what they were.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a seasonal event like this that only lasts 2.5 to 3 weeks, like I'm all for these events. I like that everybody gets rewards. You have to participate minimally, but you still get the rewards.
Yeah.
I like those. I personally didn't feel pressured until I realized, like, oh shit, we might not actually reach it. And the only reason I realized that was because it got data mined.
Mm-hmm.
I think overall, like, that we need a revamp, and this kind of goes back to what we were saying about Festival of the Lost. We need a revamp of most of the seasonal holiday events. Guardian Games was nice to get something different, but it's also probably the worst executed one they've ever done. This past spring, they did that instead of the Revelry, which was just utterly and completely broken the year before. The Valentine's event is fine. Crimson Doubles, it's only here for a week. I like it personally. I think it's a lot of fun, and you never have to do a whole lot in order to get the rewards from it. But I think that the thing that this probably brought, or it makes most sense to bring up, and I haven't seen a ton of discussion about this online, is they brought back Cold Front, which we had last year, it's primary SMG, and Avalanche, which was the heavy LMG from 2 years ago. It was the second, it was the second legendary LMG ever put into the game after Hammerhead. And Thunder. So yeah, after Hammerhead, it was the second legendary one. They still have the same symbols on them and everything. They just can roll with some different perks this time. What if we're gonna sunset weapons? Why are you just bringing back these things even if they are seasonal? It's the same question I had about the Halloween event where you could get new rolls of Braytech Werewolf and what was it? Horror Story. It's like, these are fun guns. I enjoy these guns. I like that I got new rolls on these guns. But what's the point in sunsetting my gear if you're just going to bring things back like this? Like, I don't ever want to see Recluse or Mountaintop running around again. Not if the effort that people had to put in to get those.
Mm-hmm.
And it irks me that, like, well, if you're going to unvault something, and I get that they can't walk this back now because so many people have just cleared their vaults at this point, myself included. You can't walk it back and say, well, we reintroduced this gun, so if you had a roll on it before, your gun is now automatically usable again. I only want to imagine what that would do to the back end of the game. But I think that this is probably the most glaring thing so far, that this was not thought out. Like, introducing Glasteochasm is awesome. It's a fun gun. I love it. It's one of the best legendary designed guns in the game, I think. It looks like a Christmas gun. This thing's got, like, sleek horns on it and everything. It looks like, I don't know, like a Christmas trumpet or something. It looks really cool. I like this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna do this, why can't we get like another new weapon or something? Give us like 2 or 3 weapons to grind for, and then bring them back next year and introduce another one on top of that. Like, but I think I speak for everybody here when I say, thank God you guys did not give away heir apparent as the final reward. That's what we were all dreading. As we got to like 90 something percent, it was like, oh god, we just killed ourselves to do this, even with the modifier. And now they're just going to give us heir apparent, which, oh, well, not a lot of us. A handful of us got back in Guardian games. Killing ourselves to get it there too, and that was a slog. Like, I'm tired of things that are a slog. This definitely felt more relaxed. Just tone down that community target by about half next time, Bungo. We shouldn't have to get up to 1 billion cookies. Make it 500 million. We hit that one fairly easily. We did. That was step 4 out of 5 was to hit 500 million. We did that pretty easily. We got there in like a week and a half, and I think that's how it should be. Give people about a week and a half to make it to where it'll be done in a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. If it's not done at the second reset, or it's not going to get done because people just aren't participating, maybe bump it up a little bit more. And I get it. Dawning kind of comes at a weird time because in a typical year, we would have just launched the second season. Or we'd be preparing to launch the second season or something. And this isn't a typical year, though. Like, we're still in season of the hunt. So I think the people who were ready to put it down were like, oh, fuck this. I'm not sticking around for more cookie baking this year. Like, I'll just log in and get the rewards. And I don't blame them for that. It's kind of the attitude I had, too. But
I mean, plus, like, a lot of other games. Like, I mean, you and I know, like, a lot of other games we were interested in playing at, like,
it comes at a really bad time. And that's not it's not their fault that Christmas decides to be when everybody releases games, right?
Right.
But I've largely put it on hold for the last month because I blew through Cyberpunk, and then I have been living in medieval England. So I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm getting ready to start Greedfall. Like, I've been enjoying my time away from Destiny, but it makes it that much more special when I come back and I do stuff. Like, when I'm hanging out with my friends, or even I'm just doing some of the quest lines that have been around this season. Like, I keep seeing people say, like, oh, this season's lackluster, it's bad. Guys, there's never been a good season that has launched with the game, ever. Ever. I mean, for God's sake, Season of the Outlaw, which was technically Season 4, didn't even have anything that wasn't Forsaken related.
Right.
Last year, we had Season of the Undying. Y'all didn't like that either. That at least had a 6-person match-made activity. And then you're like, no, we want solo activity. So then they give us Wrathborns, and y'all don't like that either. Like, make up your minds.
Right.
Make up your minds. Like, I like the gear customization. I agree there needs to be a much bigger loot pool for it, but come on, man. Like, y'all are just picking things to complain about at this point.
Yeah.
Y'all are nitpicking.
I had to stop following a lot of Destiny things on Twitter, too. Like, I mean, that I feel like that's been, like, my big thing this year is, like, unfollowing people on Twitter. I think in the last, 2 months, I've unfollowed something like 400 people. And, like, I'm just tired of, like, people complaining about stuff. I'm like, pick something to complain about. I see you complain about the exact opposite thing like 6 months ago, and now you're complaining about this, and you want to go back to the thing you were complaining about 6 months ago. It's like, pick a lane, dude. Like, and you know what I want, Josh? You know what I want?
What do you want? What do you want, Corey?
I want Prison of Elders to come back. Okay? That's what I want. A nice, simple match-made activity, and if there's a harder one that you can do with friends, that you can go in and get cool stuff and just fuck shit up. Psylocke the Defiled. And make sure Varix is announcing it.
Man, I am really... I don't know, I'm really curious to see where we go in 2021. But I did like the Dawning and this season. I mean, we'll talk about the season a little bit more, I guess, now. Corey, have you done the High Celibate mission yet?
I have not. I'm actually working on the Hawk Moon mission.
Got you. Okay.
But I do want to do that before the season ends, because I'm assuming it goes away when the new season starts.
So seasonal content is supposed to be sticking around for the full year now.
Yeah, but does that mean missions, or does that just mean that, like,
I think
the hunts will be around for a year?
I think it means all of it. But I'm not willing to test that theory the first time around. So, and Damage was kind of teasing on Twitter. He says because people thought that they had the seasonal title done, and there's still 2 triumphs left that haven't been put on, at least 2 that haven't been put in there for the total, and he says those are going to come in the coming weeks. So it looks like we're going to have some end of season activities as well. I kind of like this. They've really left us in the dark of what's happening in 2021 so far. Like, we literally were just told what was going to happen the first couple of weeks, and then after that, it just kind of took off. Like, I like that. Hawkmoon kind of came out of nowhere and surprised us. And I really like the Hawkmoon quest. I was not expecting the High Sullivan quest this soon. I was expecting that like the week before. The ship you can get from it is dope.
Is it?
I like that ship a lot. Yeah, so it's supposed to be a rare reward, and they didn't tell anybody, so it's listed in the game as a reward, and when we didn't get it at the end, we're like, what the fuck? Where is it? And you can only do the mission once per week on each character because it's a powerful drop that you're supposed to get. So,
is it
great? So, but there are ways to cheese it. I really like the High Sullivan quest because it gave us something to do in the Dreaming City that was story related. And I really, really, really liked going back there. I don't care if it was a repurposed Ascendant challenge. Like, it was still really cool. Like, the storyline, it's, you and Crow chasing this thing. He's in the Ascendant plane and you're in the real world. And then when one of you goes in, the other one comes out because you're trying to trap this thing. And it's That's cool. Really, really, really cool mission, and you end up trapping him in the Ascendant plane, and it sounds like Crow almost betrays you, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, Ghost is like, he just left us here? What? And then, when you beat the Sullivan, Crow opens the portal for you to get out. And he's like, nah, I got you. I wasn't leaving you. I was over here waiting for it to teleport out so I could kill it. Like, that's great. I love story building like that. Like, the lore has been so on point this season.
Yeah,
it's been great. And there is more. Like, I won't spoil it. There are some cutscenes to happen after that. After you beat the Sullivan for the first time, there are a couple of cutscenes you'll have with Crow, which I think really further develops him. And I'm very excited to see where they take this story thread, whether we pick it up next season or in a couple seasons or whatever. It was really cool, though. I want more missions like this, and like the Nokris one that we got at the end of Season of Arrivals. Like, hell, even like, the Fellwinter's Lie quest, when you went into the bunker on the moon, the Saint 14 missions. Like, we've gotten so many unique things, despite like the up and down year we had in 2020 with the game. We've gotten so many unique, kind of towards end of season missions that are truly unique, that I really wish everyone could just experience at some point, and I wish they didn't go away, because I think it does so much to build the world, especially when you can see how everything gets connected. If you're just doing it kind of disjointedly, you're like, oh, well, that was whatever. But I like repurposing content we haven't used in like 2 years. That's what everybody was calling for. Y'all wanted it with Black Armory, which I still agree with, but it's like, damn, y'all wanted it with Black Armory and the Menagerie, but you're going to throw a bitching fit because we reused part of the Dreaming City. Like, I got real bad news for you guys. We're probably going to spend a lot of time in the Dreaming City this year and in Witch Queen.
Right.
So, y'all might want to get used to it.
Strap in. We're going.
Yeah. We're going where no thrall has gone before.
Can I ask for one thing in the Dreaming City, though? Another fast travel point would be just...
Yeah, honestly, that's why I try to avoid the Dreaming City at all costs. Like, I get that Petra revolves around, and I really like it, but it's really only convenient to go there. It was only ever convenient to do her bounties when she was right at the spawn point.
Yeah.
This is something that we've been asking for a long time, and I can't believe that they repeated the exact same mistake with Europa.
What, two fast travel points is awful.
They're literally like right next to each other.
Yeah. Like, we need one at the top of the... We need one at the north of the map. Like, we need one...
You have to have one at Reese Reborn. You just have to. At least in Eventide, you have to have one. It's unconscionable not to at this point.
Have they ever added fast travel points at any of the maps? I don't think they have. Right? Like,
I don't think they have either.
It's a shame. They need to.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the High Sullivan mission. I don't know. I like being able to earn cosmetics from this kind of stuff too. Like, we saw in the Dawning, you could like we said, when you got the presents, there were emotes and ships and sparrows from years past. And I mean, like, yeah, it was all like legendary or rare stuff that had been sold or given away like a couple years ago. But I still think like this goes back to what I was asking for over the summer. Like, give some of that shit away that you're never going to sell again.
Right.
Like once it's been in the store for like a year or two, give it for an event. Just start giving it away after that. Like the Twitch Prime bundle right now gives you one of the Christmas ornaments for Hardlight, which to my knowledge has only ever been sold for silver.
Yeah, it's cool.
Hell
looking.
yeah, give me that. I like it. I don't use Hardlight as much anymore, but that was always one of the ones I was like, I can't believe I didn't get this.
Yeah.
You get that, you get a Christmas sparrow, and I think a Christmas ship too.
And
you get all sorts of shit.
They actually give you Hardlight too.
And they give you Hardlight, yeah, because it's the exotic bundle.
Yeah.
I really, really, really like seeing things like what they did with the Dawning rewards this year. And then on top of that, if you were turning in your triumphs, you were getting shaders, you were upgrading a ship, and things like that. I mean, we've seen the upgrade. They've done the upgrade path with the Christmas sparrows before with the sleigh. They did that 2 years ago, and it was a huge success. And then when they didn't do it last year, I was like, well, what the hell, guys? Come on. Like, we all really enjoyed that. Like, that gets me to come play this instead of putting it off to the side. This is my favorite seasonal event that's not, Solstice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that they've really nailed with this, with Solstice, and not nearly as much in Festival of the Cost. But giving away cosmetics for free and not putting them in Eververse, even for Bright Dust. They're just giving them away to you for finishing these triumphs. Like, it makes me want to go chase them. I would not have played as much Guardian games as I did without being able to get Heir Apparent. That's the only reason I killed myself in Guardian games, was to get that gun.
Mm-hmm.
But it gave me something to work towards. I will log in for a special weapon. I was planning to just hop into this, get Glacia Chasm, and pop out. As much as I like it, I was having too much fun with Cyberpunk. And then I was earning stuff, and it's like, cool, I really like some of these shaders. I really like the Dawning presents. I think this is cool. Like, sure, I got an Ascendant Shard and some Prisms out of it. Got plenty of enhancement cores from those presents. Got some awesome rolls on Avalanche and Cold Front. Awesome. Like, Cold Front feels night and day different now with the 60 frames. I actually like running SMGs again. Like, it's so stable for a primary SMG. Like, cool. Do more things like this, though. Like, these are the kind of things we want, just with more realistic goals.
Right. Oh, man. Just, I like where they're going. I just think it needs a little bit more refined.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that looks like, but I like where they're going, and I hope we see more of this, going forward. But like you said, like, I think some of this stuff should just be in the engrams, the you know what I mean? Like, when you go to Eververse, right? Like, they some of this stuff, I would say even after 6 months, after like 2 seasons, it should be there. But
yeah, no, I fully agree. And I think once it's been up for silver or something, for a year, or like it was only sold for silver, the next time it comes back, it should be for Bright Dust, and it should be permanently in the archive.
yeah,
Like, I have no hell, even sell it for silver at like a third of the price or something. Like, you paid the price of wanting it right away. Now everybody else can get it at a discounted price. I don't know. This is why I don't work in business.
Yeah.
I'd be like, just give everything away. Just give it all away.
Give it away. And then in 6 months, you'll wonder why your studio is closing.
I know, right? But I mean, for like the 6th or 7th most successful game overall on Steam for an entire year in terms of revenue, I think you can afford it.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I'm kind of ready for this new season. I'm kind of over the Wrathborn hunts, and
I don't mind the Wrathborn hunts.
I don't mind them. I just, like, I'm ready for something new.
Yeah. I'm ready to actually be able to focus on like a full season again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Season of the Hunt very much feels like something that, like, even when you get to the end of it, it's like, oh, well, this feels like it was kind of half baked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, like we said, it came out in the middle of one of the biggest expansions the game's ever done. But I still don't think that should be an excuse. And we'll do a full Season of the Hunt breakdown here in a couple weeks as we get towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like on my hands and knees thanking God and thanking the Traveler that this was actually a really small season that I
Right.
have had to pay barely no attention to, because I played so much Beyond Light for about the first 6 weeks
Yeah.
that I just needed a mental break from it. Then I played some Iron Banner yesterday and today, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to start getting back into this. I'm ready to put this back in my rotation.
Yeah.
And that's just what you have to do with this game. It's simply, I get like, moving on. I want to talk about a little bit about the whole controversy that erupted over Christmas Vacation on social media and on Reddit and stuff about how PvP has just been completely ignored in this game and how it's garbage, it's falling apart. Like, there are a lot of prominent streamers and YouTubers and stuff who are like, PvP either needs to be completely reworked or just taken out at this point because y'all don't care about it. And a lot of the frustrations that I get from that is because, I mean, in my opinion, the weapon balancing has never been better in Crucible. I feel like you can legitimately use almost anything you want, and as long as you're good with it, you're going to get kills.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, hand cannons will always dominate, but you can do real good with an auto rifle. You can do good with a pulse. You can do good with a scout. Like, you can do good with just about anything as long as you are skilled with it and you're a decent player. You can do good with just about anything. And I mean, even newbies, like, throw on, if you're having problems, you're down to a hand cannons, throw on Crimson, throw on Thorn. You know, go get the hand cannon from the raid. Get the Iron Banner hand cannon. Like, there are tons of options for go get a good True Prophecy. Like, there are tons of options out there for you. Like, if you want to run the hand cannon one, it doesn't feel like there's anything that's like an actual meta for the first time in a long time in PvP, and I love that.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about a Crucible refresh. Like, well, at least when I talk about it, I mean, we need some new maps, because we really do. I want some new modes. Like, I hate that they took modes out of this. I used to look forward to seeing what was going to be in the rotating playlist, because I often played that a lot more than I did Control. Like, I didn't do Classic Mix or anything like that, or Rotating Mix, but it was like, okay, oh, if it's Clash this week, okay, we're just going to go play Control. Like, Mayhem's up. I know I'll go hang out in Mayhem, and nobody else will with me in my group. But hey, Showdown is on, Countdown is on, Momentum Control. Like, hey, those are the ones that we're playing.
Yeah.
Breakthrough, like, we're going to go play all those. We got real used to those. And it's like, I also see the complaints about Stasis. And I understand how frustrating it can be with Stasis, especially in high-end content like Iron Banner. And I haven't even attempted Trials since Stasis came in. And frankly, Stasis will probably keep me from playing Trials at this point. I just have no desire to torture myself with that.
Yeah. It's, I mean, Stasis is everywhere, and I get, like, they wanted this super new, powerful, super, but, like, it's a little bit broken in PvP. I would say
call it what it is.
I'd say it's pretty broken in PvP. You know, I mean, I feel better when I use it, and I suck at PvP, right? Like, I use it because it works for me, just like it's working for everybody else, right? Like, I feel like, I don't know. I don't even know what a rework would even look like, you know? I don't even know. I don't know, you know? Like you said, although I would like to see the new maps. We don't have any maps on Europa at all.
We don't have any maps on Europa or on the moon that are specifically just for Destiny 2. The only moon maps we have are from D1. Right.
So, like, where are those at, you know? I don't know. What was that one really big map at the very beginning of Destiny 1 with the vehicles on it, and then they took it out like 3 weeks later?
Yeah. So we had a couple of those for Combined Arms. We had one on Mars, and we had one on Earth, I think, and we had one on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
The one on the moon got turned into the first campaign level of Shadowkeep.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I would really, really, really love that. Again, like we've said this so many times, it's inexcusable that there's no Moon or Europa maps for either the Crucible or for Gambit at this point, especially when you took things out.
God, yeah, Gambit's the other one, dude. Like, I'm tired of playing the same two maps. Like,
I haven't touched Gambit since like week 3. Once I hit the soft cap, once I hit the hard cap, not the pinnacle. Once I hit the hard cap at 1250, I was like, nope, I'm done. Next season, I have no intention of touching Gambit unless it's got no rework. Like, I enjoyed when I played Gambit not that long ago. but I was really only playing Gambit as much as I did for the weekly bounties to get my Bright Dust up.
I mean, that's really the only reason why I play is for the bounties.
I'm at 62,000 Bright Dust. I don't think I need to be grinding out Gambit every week anymore.
I don't
Especially
know.
when you need half it.
I think you need a little bit more, Josh. I think you need a little bit more Bright Dust. Bright Dust.
Now that it's easier to do so, and I didn't have to go through the stupid new light quests again, I play Crucible on all 3 characters now instead of going and doing Gambit.
I think they should just turn Shahan into Bright Dust and give it to you.
Dude, if they did that, just give me 100K to take him out of my game. That'd be fantastic. I would pay Bright Dust for him to stop giving me the new light dialogue during the Omnigul strike.
Right.
I didn't realize if you go do that, because they didn't tell us until after I'd already done it. Oh yeah, if you do this, you're gonna get the new light dialogue forever when you boot that up. Like, bitch, I killed Oryx, I have killed Crota, I have killed Atheon, I have done every raid in this series. I'm the mayor of the Deepstone Crypt, sir. You do not have to talk to me like I'm one of your little blueberry crumblers. Which was his cookie name, by the way. Blueberry Crumbles.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously. It was fantastic. It was so spot on. I couldn't help but laugh.
I hate Shahan. I've interacted with him so little, and I still hate him. He's awful.
I actively avoid it. I avoid the Cosmodrome but since they're giving us the other half of the Cosmodrome in the next season, I guarantee you that a lot of the season's going to be set in the Cosmodrome with that son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Season of the Furious.
Ugh. Season of the Derp. Like, I just, oh my god, I can't get over how bad this is gonna be.
Gosh, he looks like I'll bring this up every time we bring up Shahan, but he looks like a terrible, terrible human being cosplaying a Guardian.
He really does.
Like,
my favorite comment was people tagging Aztecross and saying, "Is this you?" And I was like, "Oh no!
Oh my gosh,
that's so mean! Like, that's harassment right there."
It's terrible. It's so bad. Oh, I can't stand him. He's the worst.
I can't when I saw that we were delivering cookies to him and not the Exo Stranger, I was so mad. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me! We're giving cookies to him and not the stranger." Excuse me?
Right.
My favorite cookie to deliver, though, is to Ribbon. That's my favorite one. Even though you have to go put the code in and it takes like 5 minutes to do it.
Yeah.
It's still great.
It's the worst.
It is bad, but Corey, why don't you say we do a quick lore corner?
Yes, let's do it. Show everybody what we're doing for lore corner. I'm very jealous because mine's coming tomorrow.
For those of you who can't see, this is volume 3 of the Grimoire anthology. It finally shipped. It took forever. I ordered this sucker last year, like in the spring. It was supposed to come out in September, got pushed to October, got pushed to November, got pushed to December. And then they told me it was going to come in like 2 weeks. And suddenly today I get an email saying it's out for delivery. So I'm very excited for this. This one is, it's about war machines. So like there's a lot of Exo stuff in here. There is stuff from the Deepstone Crypt, I believe. I do think that's part of why it was pushed back, is there is stuff from Beyond Light in here. Specifically about No Time to Explain.
Yes, let's do it.
Today's lore corner is going to come from the chapter all about Cayde, and hey, we've got some wonderful artwork of Uldren to accompany that.
Oh, it's
for
so
anybody
cool.
watching.
So
I
cool.
really love the art in here. They've upped how much art they did in this book this time around.
That's
too.
awesome, because the first one, which was about the Book of Sorrows, there's not a lot of art in there.
No, there really was not much at all. I'm trying to find 2 other ones. There were 3 pieces I was going to read. I'm trying to mark my pages real fast. I realized my bookmarks fell out, so I'm having to use a napkin that's on my desk and tear it to create bookmarks real fast.
Nice.
Okay, so how Cayde's chapter begins in here, we have 2 pieces of lore from his Ace of Spades mission from the caches that you get and you listen to. And it starts with the one to Petra, and it ends with the one directed at the Deepstone Crypt. So the one to Petra reads, Petra, if you're listening to this, you killed me. Because anybody who hasn't done the Ace of Spades missions, Cayde recorded messages to anybody he thought might kill him, including Petra, the Deepstone Crypt, the owners of the Deepstone Crypt, the Drifter, Ikora, Zavala, the Guardian. He writes one to us too, and I'm not quite sure if it's in here. If it is, when I see it when we're coming through, we'll stop and read that one as our third. But Petra, if you're listening to this, you killed me. Maybe the Sovs and all their mysterious wisdom decided they were sick of me. If the Queen ordered to hit, I guess I understand. You're a real glutton for chivalry, but if it was Uldren, I'm pissed. Just thinking about that peacock gives me a headache. But I'm betting my death was another case of your famous collateral damage, because you're a real do-gooder. Seriously, it's annoying. But good deeds never go unpunished when you're around. You got a blast radius, PV. Well, it was fun while it lasted. Oh, and tell Paladin Orin, if the sun over Nessus escapes Nebula Cycle, evac labor after dawn under solstice. You got that? I'm going to be honest, I have no fucking clue what he's talking about at the end there. I have no idea.
Yeah.
This has been something that Bife has gone over before. I believe, these logs is where the theory of the Deepstone Crypt being on Enceladus comes from in one of his missions, or one of his logs. I think that's why this is in here. I think that last specific paragraph about Paladin Orin is going to come into play. It's kind of interesting how he predicts that Uldren is the one who is going to kill him, ultimately. Unknowingly predicts it. There's a lot. We're going to do a lot from this book, because it's really all of Cayde and Andalbrask and Tannix's shared history, is what this book is. And his journals to his son Ace. All right, so this one's called Winner Take All. Tannix was a pain. Turns out that wasn't the real problem, though it was high on the list at the time. The real problem? The freak's still a pain. He's no guardian, but the dude's been dead, and not more times than I can track. Died twice by my hand alone. Second time, I even looked to deliver some insurance, but he was hauled off by his goons before I could add more lead to the collection I'd deposited in his chest, and neck, and gut, and head. But the second time don't matter. I mean, it does, sure, but the important bit here is our first go-around. When Andal and I made our bet that wasn't a bet, but really a dare. The dare. We were eager and ready to track Tannix and hit him with some payback. I had the good luck of finding Tannix first. Had the good luck to kill him too, so we all thought. What followed was a party. Osiris even showed up. He and the speaker had sent Saint 14 after Tannix as well, and maybe Saintie's one hell of a titan. But we're hunters. No way we were losing the kill. Looking back, I wish maybe we had. Andal kept his word, joined the Vanguard. I tried talking him out of it. We made the dare in a compromised state. Shiro and I'd just been roughed up. Neon was gone. Lush was broken. Emotions were high and liquid was flowing. Andal wasn't buying it. Neither was I. Not really. But the dare's the dare. To go back out would have been a mark. Would have called Andal into question to every hunter out there, even to me. I never would have admitted it to him. But he'd know. Things got a little weird between us once he joined the Vanguard, and it was all my doing. And I missed him. Didn't like seeing one of the best rule breakers and world walkers anyone had ever seen bogged down with bureaucrats. But the weirdness passed. Brothers don't stay mad at brothers. That's just the way it is. As we settled into the new norm, the good times started to roll. They kept on rolling too. For a while, anyway. So we're reading this one because, given the events of this season and the implications at the end of the High Settlement mission, which, again, not going to spoil here, but there's some very meaningful dialogue with the Crow. And we've had some of it during the Hawkmoon quest and in our paragraphs of text that we get with him in some of the stuff that Bungie has released on Bungie.net this season and leading up to this season about Crow. All indications are that he's going to go to the Tower real soon. And we know specifically Zavala tells Anna when Anna is in his office and goes, "Oh God, please don't tell me you're here to ask me to be the Vanguard." And Zavala says, "No, not unless you're secretly the one who killed Cayde." With Uldren Reborn as the Crow, when he shows up at the tower, like, he knows he did something in his past life.
Mm-hmm.
And Glint hasn't exactly told him what he did. Even though Glint knows. And we're keeping the secret from him as well. He's going to find out, whether it's the end of this season, which I think we're rapidly heading towards he may find out at the end of this season. But I do think that by the time the Witch Queen rolls around, we're going to have him settled in as our new Hunter Vanguard. Finally, 3 years later, we'll have a new Vanguard. But that's if Zavala doesn't react and freak out first.
It's going to be really interesting to see that.
It's going to be some excellent storytelling. I'm very excited for it.
Part of me wonders if maybe when the Crow shows up, I almost said Aldrin, but like I wonder if he shows up. If he shows up, if either Zavala or Ikora leave, you think one of them will leave?
I think. I don't think he'll leave. I don't think anybody will leave. I could see Ikora, since she's not given anything to do anyways, I could see her striking off away from the tower for a while. For like a season, maybe this summer, and then coming back for the Witch Queen with like a renewed purpose, since they're having a lot of problems getting Gina Torres back into the work anyways.
Yeah.
It would kind of give a narrative reason for her not being around instead of just standing in the tower like she has for a couple years now. But I don't think that Zavala would exactly welcome him either. Just remember, Ikora is the one who sanctioned us going to the Reef. And she wanted to storm it. She wanted to make an army of Guardians and storm the Reef when Cayde was killed. And Zavala told her no. And she endorsed us going. Zavala was pissed when he found out. And he still is upset. Like, to this day, he still talks about it. He's still very upset that we did it. And he said at the end of the campaign, we don't yet know what the consequences of your actions will be, but I'm sure they're not going to be good. I think we're about to start seeing the consequences of those play out, but not the way Zavala thought.
Yeah.
The interesting part will be when Mara shows back up. But I want to talk about this last one real quick, because we've talked a lot about the Deep Stone Crypt lately. And this is actually the final entry in the entire book. And it's one of Cayde's caches. This one's for the mind behind the Deep Stone Crypt. You think just because you made me, you can unmake me? Hey, I understand. I were you, I wouldn't want people knowing what I did either. Guess you better hope I didn't tell anyone about the crypt. Or about the, what was it? Oh yeah, long, slow whisper. Because if I did, that would be real bad for you, huh? I may be dead, but I guarantee you ain't heard the last of me. I bring this one up because there's a theory in the community right now, which I wholeheartedly subscribe to. Now that the raid's been out for almost 2 months, we've all kind of been left wondering, what is the AI talking about when the space station blows up and you crash back down to Europa? The space station AI says to you, basically, you have to stop. Essentially, you have to stop the intruders, because once the space station crashes, the crypt will be open to all. We still don't know the ramifications of that yet. We haven't been back to the Deep Stone Crypt. The theory is that there may be a second raid or be introduced, because only about a third of the raid is actually spent in the crypt. If that. Maybe a quarter is only spent in the crypt. Like, a lot of it just simply isn't.
And it's not the full crypt either. There's a lot left in there, I feel like.
We see one specific chamber.
Yeah.
Built around a darkness statue, essentially. That's what we get. We basically get in the front door and we get into one lab, and that's it. The rest of it is all done in space or in the Pike race. So I definitely still think, I think this is an example of their evolving world storytelling, right? We're going to circle back to this. It may not be this season or next season, but I do suspect before the Witch Queen, we're circling back around. I personally am of the opinion they're going to give us a dungeon there.
Yeah.
Because that would track with how they've done the dungeons. We got the first dungeon in the Dreaming City when the Dreaming City came out. We got the first one on the we got the Pit of Heresy on the Moon when Shadowkeep came out. We got Prophecy launched from the tower, but that was when the darkness arrived, because it deals with the Taken, with the darkness, with the Nine and stuff, which we still don't really understand the full story behind that dungeon either, by the way.
Right.
The other two had stories. We don't really understand that one yet. I don't think we're meant to, except for the Paladin Warren, who is the Awoken that is working for the Nine, the agent of the Nine.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, so the Long Slow Whisper, I don't think we've addressed that on here before. We'll talk about the Long Slow Whisper another time. I need to actually write something up on that.
Yeah.
But if I'm remembering it correctly, it's essentially the dream that all Exos go through at the end of their life, where they fight every enemy they've ever killed in their consciousness, and to try and reach the end of the dream for their consciousness or whatever. So Cayde clearly knew about the Deepstone Crypt and didn't tell the Vanguard. So I'm very curious about that one. And then there's the whole, I'll have to look it up because we'll read it on here, the actual one about Enceladus I want to read as well. I was completely certain we were going to Enceladus before they announced it was Europa.
Yeah.
I was even convinced maybe we were getting a stealth second planet like we did with the Dreaming City. Mm-hmm. But alas, we got half of the Cosmodrome instead.
In Shahan.
And Shahan. Not Crow, Shahan. But that's been Lore Corner for this week, guys. Just a real short one. They're going to be real low-key. We're going to work through Cayde's story over the next month, leading into the next season. We're going to talk about Cayde, and we're going to revisit Uldren's story / The Crow. We're going to kind of catch up on what he's been doing, since there's all the lore dumps from Bungie.net now.
Mm-hmm. Which I like.
I want to address that. I love those. I love that they're long-form prose. I wish they would print them in these books.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I like these books, but I also wish there was just like you said, like one sheets, or like just, like it's gonna be a weird comparison, but like my kid has a Disney book where there's like 30 stories in there, but they're all like 4 to 7 pages long. And you just put the info dump, you just put the lore dump in there, So, man. Yeah, I can't wait, though. I can't wait to talk about Cayde's story and kind of what the Crows went up to. And
I think Cayde's story, especially given the last piece that we read tonight, is going to be coming back into the focus again. Mm-hmm. Because when Crow shows up to the tower, or to anybody that's not us, inevitably that's going to have to be explained. Spider didn't tell him. And Spider's wanted to for a while. You can tell. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't tell him because he wants his absolute loyalty. Yeah. And it's going to create a problem with Petra when she finds out. Like, I really think this year may be the undoing of a lot of our alliances, given how everyone still around had loyalty to Cayde. Mm-hmm. A lot of it. Yeah. I mean, even Failsafe had a connection with Cayde. So I'm curious to see how they do this, how the Vault of Glass ends up playing, and all. Take Crow to the Vault of Glass. Make him go with us.
Yeah. I wonder how everyone's going to react to him. I want to know. I want to see that. I want to see it play out. I don't want it in like a lore dump. I want to see the cutscene of him showing up at the tower for the first time, and like,
that has to be, if that's not a cutscene, the riots that will ensue on Reddit.
I want to see Ikora like charge him, getting ready to like just blast him with a Nova bomb or something, and Zavala like grabs her hand and pulls it back or something, and like,
I want to see our Guardian defend him.
Yeah.
Show up to the tower, have my Guardian pull his guns out. Let him pull out Lament and see if you guys are still going to charge me.
Right. I want to. Yeah.
I'll go anime sword on Ikora and Zavala. I'll do it.
Gosh, could you imagine? Could you imagine the tensions?
You give some permanent damage to the tower because they like hurled a Nova bomb or thunder crashed at us. Mm-hmm. Oh. Like, I would love that so much.
It'd be so cool.
Oh. Well, we have to go back to the old tower because they completely destroyed this one.
Right. It's an excuse to unvault the old tower. Oh, man. So
the Nova bomb was so powerful it unvaulted the Destiny 1 tower.
And all the content. Yeah, I'm excited to go over that. I'm excited for a new season to start. Is there anything else you want to discuss before we get out of here?
I don't think so. It's been it's been a pretty quiet time right now. The high celibate mission is bugged. If you're listening to this, it'll still be bugged when you're listening to it. You can get an exotic ship from it, but you only have a chance at it. It's a rare reward, but it's a really cool looking ship. I'll be trying to grind that out. You can play it once per week on each character because it is a powerful reward you get from there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a sucker for cosmetics. So let me see. I think there was one other thing. I believe we may have addressed this on a previous one. I don't like talking about leaks or about data mines, but I'm making an exception for this because it's the season title of the next season, and because I think it has a lot of relevance to what we just talked about, and what we will be talking about going forward with the Crow. Season of the Chosen.
Yeah.
Which I'm having horrible flashbacks to Season of the Worthy right now.
Oh God, please don't.
Yeah, I'm having really bad flashbacks.
So basically what you're telling me is when the Crow arrives at the tower, he's just going to headbutt Zavala, like Saint 14 headbutted that Minotaur.
Oh my God, I would love it so much. I think it's going to be, given that name, I do think it's going to, I think each season this year, frankly, is going to involve the Crow. Because I do think he's going to tie in pretty heavily to the Witch Queen. I think that's going to be Mara's grand return.
Right.
She'll have been away for 3 years at that point. It's high time for Mara Sov to come back.
Yeah.
And we know that she's been in contact with Osiris.
Right.
Over the course of this with Osiris, and she had been talking to Brother Vance, telling him, hey, don't fuck around with the darkness. Don't do it. And Vance still did it because he doesn't listen. So, and he's dead now because of it, strangled by himself.
It's all right.
We'll see.
He's
the Chosen. I'm very excited. Very excited. Maybe Rasputin will finally get into that old exo body we were hearing about.
Yeah. Maybe season the Chosen, maybe he's chosen to be the next Vanguard. Like that also has a lot of ramifications.
Oh my God. Do you know if you're gonna make Ultron the Vanguard, I need you to make a season called Season of the Dare.
It's fair.
And I need you to make it a Hunter exclusive season.
A Hunter exclusive season. No, I want to see
I'm sorry. We need this. We deserve this.
Why
is my Hunter not the Vanguard? I've killed like literal gods.
I mean, to be fair, all of our guardians should be the Vanguard. We do all the work.
It's true.
Zavala just stands at his little ledge and looks over the city. And
hey, listen, Lance Reddick was a trooper recording all the dialogue he did during this pandemic from his closet.
I know. Lance Reddick is awesome. We should get him on here.
Lance. Oh my God.
He's
Lance,
a huge
what's
fan.
your favorite kind of sandwich?
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, that sandwich.
He's going to say that roast beef and mac and cheese sandwich.
You see that thing? Oh my gosh.
I got high cholesterol just looking at that thing.
Oh, but it looks so good, man. It looks so good. Oh, the family friends that live in Florida, I should have them send me a few of them. I don't know how that would go because we just got our Hanukkah and Christmas cards and they sent them in November. So,
oh my God, yeah, dude, I'm getting bills showing up to my apartment that were mailed like 2 months ago, and they're like past due, and I'm like, I didn't know about this. Okay, that's news to me. I wonder how far past due it is now if it was then.
Yeah, the license plate sticker on my car, it's like it expired in November. But I sent the mail in September, and I still haven't gotten the sticker for my license plate.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. Anyways, all right, Josh. Before we go, I have one question for you.
I have one answer for you.
It's
maybe more.
It's 2021. Tower Casuals, our pet project here. Is there anything special you want to accomplish with this show this year? A Tower Casuals resolution, as they say.
I want to expand Lore Corner. I want to do more of what we just did tonight, where we actually read the lore piece and then dissect it.
Mm-hmm.
now that we've caught up on a lot of the stories and whatnot, things that we needed to over encompass, things that would have otherwise taken us months and months to get through. I think it's fine to do refreshers once in a while, like with Savathun. We're going to revisit Savathun probably at the end of the summer, leading into the Witch Queen, and then we'll cover her again, obviously, after the Witch Queen has come out. Just like we did with Aramis. We talked about Aramis a little bit before, and then did another dive on her a couple weeks later. I'd like to do that, and I'd like to talk more about specific builds. More about how like seasonal specific mods. I know we don't have any this season, but how mods affect how I play, how we play, really. Like for instance, I mean, I'd love to talk about the Deepstone Crypt ones. You know, I have all 4 of them, and I do frequently use them in my armor because it's crazy not to at this point. They do provide a genuine buff and a genuine benefit to you. You just have to balance that out with your charge with light mods, which I think that's part of the fun is, you know, okay, decide what you want to hunker down on. Like Warmind cells are relevant again. I love to talk about those, you know, just more builds, like more of how are we getting the optimal end game builds that we run.
Yeah, I want to do more lore stuff too. Like, because that's like to me that's the most fascinating part about this game is not the stories that you experience in the games, but the stories that you hear about or read about or, you know, hear NPCs talk about. And yeah, that's something I really do want to get into as well. I look forward to every Thursday night. I know I'm not as like in my knowledge base of Destiny is nowhere near yours, but like this is like honestly like you and me just sitting here chilling for an hour and a half to talk about Destiny is like it's kind of like because honestly like between prepping like Boss Rush and Arsenal X and editing the other shows and everything, like this is just kind of like this is the relaxing time for me. And like I just you know I know I said this before the year ended, but I really appreciate you and this show and you doing it with me. And let's make 2021 a good year.
I agree.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah. So I want to thank everybody so much for watching and or listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Tower Casuals. You can join the Boss Rush Games Discord. The link is in the show notes. Really, we're gonna push a Tower Casuals LFG that way this year. If you want to, you know, check out our other shows, Josh and I are both on Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast. You can go to bossrushgames.com to check out all of our shows. You can watch our shows on YouTube. Check us out live on Thursday nights. Show goes live on Fridays on podcast feeds. Josh, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and on Twitch at Josh_Finn with 2 N's. We're finishing up AC Valhalla, and then we're going to jump into Greedfall since Outriders got delayed for another 2 months.
I know. I was upset about that.
I'm rather upset, but I'd also love to avoid another Cyberpunk incident.
Fair. I that's probably a big reason why they delayed it. I wonder how many games are going to get delayed this year because of the Cyberpunk incident. So
I've got some speculation for Arsenal X on that one.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, there's a lot to speculate about on Arsenal X this week, so strap in, guys. You can find me at IamCoreyHD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me streaming sometimes here on Boss Rush Games Live. I think that's it. There's some exciting stuff coming from Boss Rush Games in general, so please come check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching and or listening, and remember, it doesn't cost anything to be nice to one another. So be respectful, be good, be better. And we will see you next week here on Tower Casuals. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.